Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment question comes from Wizard Balls. I hope you're nothing to do with Jordan Woolis. And this was in response to setting the MIDI on the Roland JX-8P, part 2, a video I did in the summer of 2021 when I borrowed the JX-8P from Richard. And Wizard Balls writes, very helpful video, thank you. Well, you're welcome. When you create a patch to the internal memory, do you need to turn the memory protect switch off on the back? You said off twice. I think it means, do I need to turn the memory protect switch from on to off on the back of the machine? And in simple terminology, the answer, of course, is yes. You can't write a patch to memory on some of these old boards unless you turn off the hardware protect. So on some keyboards, like the Roland T1 for argument's sake, the memory protect was a software switch. So you had to go into a menu, find the memory protect for what it was you were trying to do, and turn it off. And if you're trying to do a SysX dump, of course, you had to go and turn the global memory protect off, and remember to turn it back on when you finished. Otherwise, you could overwrite the patch. With some of the older synths, the synths that came before this, before software was kind of a thing, in order to be able to write to a patch location, they had a hardware switch, and that hardware switch would be on the back of the machine. I've not seen any with it on the front of the machine. I'm sure there were ones with on the front, but mainly it was on the back of the machine, and it was either an on or off, or in the case of these Roland ones, you had off, on, off. So as long as the switch was in either of the outer positions, it was off. And if I remember correctly, on some of the Roland machines, don't quote me on this because I'm trying to do this from memory, but if you had it in either the left or right off, it did something else as well. But I can't remember what that was, but that was, you'd have to read the manual for the machine. So in the case of the JX-8P, if you want to restore something to the internal patch memory, then you have to have the memory protect switch to off, which I believe is the center position. If you don't do that, the machine will go along as if you had written it to the patch. It won't necessarily error, but when you move off the patch and then come back, you won't find it in that position. Or what also happens potentially on some of the machines is it looks like it's stored, and when you switch the machine off and switch it back on, it resorts to what's in the protected memory, not what you have just written to the patch location. Hope that makes sense. Next comment question comes from XP50 Player in response to, what is Korg doing? Is it all good or bad? A mailbag I did in January 2025. And XP50 writes, the easiest and cheapest solution for access to the M1 and the WaveStation sounds with all the cards is to get the iOS versions. And it is, you can get the whole thing on the M1 plugin for the iPad. Getting Korg to upgrade the Kronos to a 64-bit might solve a problem, but may exacerbate another Kronos startup bottleneck. Has always been the storage bus and the bus bandwidth, which they have purportedly improved in the Veeam storage on the Kronos 3. Upgrading to 64-bit will allow more RAM and thus more sample libraries, but just increase startup time further. Well, I've already said the iOS version of the Korg products are not bad. I've used them in the past. Far rather get the M1 out. Far more fun. Now, at the point of writing this, I think the Korg Kronos 3 had just been announced, and I wrote this pre-NAMM, and it's got many people excited. At that point, it really had got many people excited, and it kind of was it only a minor upgrade to the existing Kronos 2, and I firmly believe, I still believe, that the Kronos 3 is a stepping stone. It's been done to stop Korg hemorrhaging professional musicians from the Kronos platform to something else, because having a unsupported Korg Kronos on stage with you and being used as your primary income source is for some people, or was for some people, is for some people, a liability they're not prepared to accept. And a lot of people have jumped ship and gone Yamaha or Korg. I think some people may have gone Kurzweil, but generally they've jumped Yamaha or Korg to the other platforms. And I think this is a stopgap. I still believe it's a stopgap. I'm on the fence. I really am on the fence about whether this beautiful keyboard behind me is co-load. I wouldn't get rid of it, but I might co-low it. If you don't know what that means, you'll have to go and look it up. So yeah, I'm on the fence on that one. So we'll see.